Young Yeovil pounded Dagenham's shoulder and pointed. Almost at the bottom of the crater lay Gully Foyle, and as the blazing spatter of molten copper illuminated him, they saw him move. The two men at once turned and crawled out of the cathedral for a conference. "He's alive! How's it possible?" "I can guess. Did you see the shreds of tent wadded near him? It must have been a freak explosion up at the other end, and the cathedral and the tents in between cushioned Foyle. Then he dropped to the floor before anything else could hit him. I'll buy that. We've got to get him out. He's the only man who knows where the Pyre is." "Could it still be here, unexploded?" "If it's in the ILL safe, yes. That stuff is inert to anything. Never mind that now. How are we going to get him out?" Well, we can't work down from above." "Why not? Isn't it obvious? One false step and the whole mess will collapse." "Did you see that copper flowing down?" "God, yes." "Well, if we don't get him out in 10 minutes, he'll be at the bottom of a pool of molten copper." "What can we not do?" "And what can we do? I've got a long shot." "What?" "The cellars of the old RCA buildings across the street are as deep as St. Pat's. And we'll go down and try to hole through. Maybe we can pull Foyle out from the bottom." The squad broke into the ancient RCA buildings, abandoned and sealed up for 2 generations. They went down into the cellar arcades, crumbling museums of the retail stores of centuries past. They located the ancient elevator shafts and dropped through them into the subcellars filled with electric installations, heat plants, and refrigeration systems. They went down into the sump cellars, waist-deep in water from the streams of prehistoric Manhattan Island, streams that still flowed beneath the streets that covered them. As they waded through the sump cellars, bearing east-northeast to bring up opposite the St. Pat's vaults, they suddenly discovered that the pitch dark was illuminated by a fiery flickering up ahead. Dagenham shouted and flung himself forward. The explosion that had opened the subcellars of St. Pat's had split the septum between its vaults and those of the RCA building. Through a jagged rent in stone and earth, they could peer into the bottom of the inferno. 50 feet inside was Foyle, trapped in a labyrinth of twisted beams, stones, pipe, metal, and wire. He was illuminated by a roaring glow from above him and fitful flames around him. His clothes were on fire, and the tattooing was livid on his face. He moved feebly, like a bewildered animal in a maze. "My God," young Yeovil explained. "The Burning Man." "What?" "The Burning Man I saw on the Spanish stairs." "Never mind that now. What can we do?" "Go in, of course." A brilliant white gob of copper suddenly oozed down close to Foyle and splashed 10 feet below him. It was followed by a second, third, a slow, steady stream. A pool began to form. Dagenham and young Yeovil sealed the faceplates of their armor and crawled through the break in the septum. After 3 minutes of agonized struggling, they realized that they could not get through the labyrinth to Foyle. It was locked to the outside, but not from the inside. Dagenham and young Yeovil backed up to confer. "We can't get to him," Dagenham shouted, "but he can get out." "How?" "He can jaunt, obviously, or he wouldn't be there." "How?" "He can't jaunt, obviously, or he wouldn't be there." "Now, no, he can climb. Look, he goes left, then up, reverses, makes a turn along that beam, slides under it, and pushes through that tangle of wire. The wire can't be pushed in, which is why we can't get to him. But it can push out, which is how he can get out. It's a one-way door." The pool of molten copper crept up toward Foyle. "If he doesn't get out soon, he'll be roasted alive." "We'll have to talk him out. Tell him what to do." The men began shouting, "Foyle! Foyle! Foyle!" The Burning Man in the maze continued to move feebly. The downpour of sizzling copper increased. "Foyle! Turn left! Can you hear me? Foyle! Turn left and climb up! You can get out if you'll listen to me! Turn left and climb!" "Then, Foyle!" "He's not listening. Foyle! Gully Foyle! Can you hear us?" "Send for Jiz. Maybe he'll listen to her." "No, Robin. She'll tell us then. He'll have to listen." But will she do it? Save him of all people." "She'll have to. This is bigger than hatred. It's the biggest damn thing the world's ever encountered. I'll get her." Young Yeovil started to crawl out. Dagenham stopped him. "Wait, Yeo. Look at him. He's flickering." Flickering? Look, he's blinking like a glowworm. Watch! Now you see him and now you don't. The figure of Foyle was appearing, disappearing, and reappearing in rapid succession, like a firefly caught in a flaming trap. What's he doing? What's he trying to do? What's happening? He was trying to escape, like a trapped firefly or some seabird caught in the blazing brazier of a naked beacon fire. He was beating about in a frenzy, a black and burning creature, dashing himself against the unknown. Sound came as sight to him, as light in strange patterns. He saw the sound of his shouted name in vivid rhythms. Foyle, Foyle, Foyle. Motion came as sound to him. He heard the writhing of the flames. He heard the swirls of smoke. He heard the flickering, jeering shadows, all speaking deafeningly in strange tongues. The steam asked. Asha, asha, the quick shadows answered. O, ah, e, t, o. Ah, the heat ripples clamored. Ah, ma, pa, la. Even the flames, smoldering on his own clothes, roared gibberish in his ears. Mantergistman, they bellowed. Unvertrackestein, Ganzelister Furstenlist Lastenbrug. Color was pain to him. Heat, cold, pressure. Sensations of intolerable heights and plunging depths, of tremendous accelerations and crushing compressions. Red receded from him. Green light attacked. Indigo undulated with sickening speed like a shivering snake. Touch was taste to him. The feel of wood was acrid and chalky in his mouth. Metal was salt. Stone tasted sour-sweet to the touch of his fingers, and the feel of glass cloyed his palate like over-rich pastry. Smell was touch. Hot stone smelled like velvet caressing his cheek. Smoke and ash were harsh tweeds rasping his skin, almost the feel of wet canvas. Molten metal smelled like blows hammering his heart, and the ionization of the pyre explosion filled the air with ozone that smelled like water trickling through his fingers.